Hey all, Zook here, back with the all boss no damage route through Scholar of the First Sin. Remember last time we left off at Iron Keep, and now we're gonna go kill the rat bosses. So I actually start off this video buying the Ring of Intelligence from Strayed. I actually, just with the levels that I end up getting, I shouldn't have bothered buying it for this character, since I'm actually going to just end up leveling my intelligence to 25 so that I can normally cast Dark Fog. Um, with previous routes that I've done on this, if you keep your intelligence at 20, then you can allot 5 levels somewhere else and still be able to cast Dark Fog for the couple of times that you need it, just by equipping that Ring of Intelligence whenever you want to cast it. So you might want to get that. We're about to start coming up on the bosses that Dark Fog might be useful for. But what I could have actually done to be more productive, at this point, well, and actually let me keep up with what I'm doing here. Back with Carillion, I would have bought some amber herbs. And I believe I also bought a great heavy soul arrow that I'm going to eventually use, and another cast of yarn. Upgraded the bow. And okay, now I am going down into the pit. So just to get back to what I'd been saying, something that I could have done, well, two things that I could have done that would have been more productive. Um, Instead of traveling back to Straight, I could have traveled to the Poison Pool bonfire and burned an ascetic. Since now that Myth is dead, you can actually reset that area and grab 4 more Titanite chunks if you burn an ascetic. You'll see me do that in a later video with the dragons. But I also should have stopped at Malentia and bought Falcon's Hood at this point, just to give me an extra cast of Soul Appease for this upcoming boss. I end up doing it later in this video, but again, it's just something that you could have done at this point. Now, the one difference between your run through and mine, assuming that you've just done everything that I did here in the rat run through, um, if you're playing offline, assuming that you're playing offline, you're going to have Roy the Explorer invade. And so when you get up to this upper level, you're going to want to do just like I did, where you kind of sprint over to the left. The one rat drops down, and then you'll just shoot Roy. He's very similar to Rowena, where he doesn't have much poise, and you should be able to get him pretty easily. So now that we're caught back up, I make sure that I have Soul Appease attuned, and then I'm going to put on my Clear Bluestone ring. If you have the Bluestone +2, you should be wearing that. Also, one thing that I could have done here, I could have also put on the Lion Mage set. And then again, if you have Falcon's Hood, you could put that on so that you have a third cast of Soul Appease. You'll see me run over to this other side and then make sure that I'm in a spot where no rat's going to jump on me. Cast 1 Soul Appease, cast 2 Soul Appease, and because that doesn't spawn the boss, I'm going to eat an amber herb and run over here and cast a third Soul Appease. And something that you could have done, since at this point we are going to start having these extra rats drop in, I could have actually run over here to where the boss is going to drop down and cast that third Soul Appease. I personally just did it in the spot where I knew that I was safe at the moment, as opposed to maybe putting myself into more of a predicament by waiting. But once the boss is done, the actual boss rat takes like 4 hits, so it should go down pretty quick. And we come over here, join the Rat Covenant, so that we can get through the doors of Pharos without being hounded by all of those enemies. But then we're also going to buy 20 Dung Pies. The Dung Pies are going to really come in handy when it comes to taking down Smelter Demons, and also maybe some Cyan Warriors if we need to use them. And then we're going to run back to the bonfire and warp to the doors of Pharos, where we take on the other rat boss. And since we are part of the Rat Covenant now, we should be able to run through here without any sort of trouble. And just to go through a little bit quicker, I'm going to kind of jump between the platforms. as opposed to just having to slowly wade our way through the water. And then after we climb up this ladder, we are going to open one Pharaoh's contraption. And it's going to be this one right here, right where the path turns. Cast fall control so that we can drop down without taking any damage. And then the door that was right underneath us just opened up. Run up that path, grab yourself a twinkling titanite. And there's that. It also gives you a faint stone, which we're going to end up wanting to imbue our Staff of Wisdom with eventually. So you definitely do want to make sure that you hit this chest. And as I equip the Lion Mage set for eventually casting Soul Appease against Royal Rat Authority, I realize, oh hey, I forgot to buy the Hexer's Hood. So at this point, I decide, okay, I'm going to warp back to Majula really quick and get the Hexer's Hood. Hopefully, you already bought it at this point, so you just need to go straight into the boss. And also, I guess, if you wanted to buy the Bright Bugs, I believe that the 3 Bright Bugs still haven't been bought in yet on this playthrough. But, I mean, I'll get them eventually. Actually, never mind. I'm pretty sure that I did buy them on this playthrough already. So then we go into the boss fog, stand here where the claw marks are, and we're going to shoot these 2 rats, the first rat and the second one. And then one hand the chime, cast Soul Appease, and then just run over here and hit the boss. I found that this boss isn't terribly difficult for the move set, honestly. I mean, he has some stupid hitboxes with his head swing, but the main thing that's annoying about this boss is just because of the angles that he moves at whenever he swipes with his front paws. Um, it's actually really easy to accidentally miss this boss, especially if you are jabbing with a rapier. Yeah, I rolled too early on that one. But when you're jabbing with the rapier, just kind of don't lock on to him. Try to figure out how his attack patterns work and where his body's about to be so that you can actually hit him with as many rapier pokes as possible. Yeah, now we are going to cast fall control because we have to take a small drop, which I believe does a little bit of fall damage. It might not if you kind of bounce your way down, but we're gonna come here, talk to Gavlin, and buy 600 of these poison arrows. You can adjust that number to whatever you need. And fall control still active, so I don't take any damage from that drop into the water. I'm just gonna come here back to the bonfire and head on back to Iron Keep. And as we pick up the next video, we are going to take on Smelter Demon and Old Iron King before we go through the second DLC. So hopefully I will catch you in the next one.